Welcome back on Good Morning Artesia, and joining us now from Artesia General Hospital is Dr. John Batty. He is a cardiologist at Artesia General, but you've been a New Mexico resident for a couple of years now, haven't you?
I have.
You actually retired, and who at one time, right?
I retired about 2013 from cath lab and interventional cardiology. That was quite intense, and then in 2013, I signed up for a locums job that was supposed to be 2 weeks long at Artesia General Hospital. And needless to say, it evolved.
2013, let's see. You don't renew every 2 weeks, do you?
No. It's a great community, and I've enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the vaccine, because there is there are a lot of questions, a lot of concerns that people have over the vaccine. I think in part because of how quickly the vaccine was developed. Yeah. And because it was this time last year that we were starting to see the stories coming out of China and then out of Italy with this very contagious virus that seemed to be very deadly. I mean, it is a deadly virus. So we're not quite a year out from when this came to our country, and now we've got a vaccine. So let's talk about the vaccine. Talk about, from your understanding of the development of this vaccine, how good a job did they do with developing and researching and testing this particular vaccine?
Okay, well, in sort of a preamble, I'd like to say that the COVID-19 pandemic has taken a huge toll on us. 25 million cases, 420,000 deaths, a death rate of 1.7 to 1.8%. That's huge.
And that's worldwide, right? Or is that in the United States?
No, that's in the U.S.
That's in the U.S.?
That's in the U.S. Those are specifically U.S. numbers. And, most of these deaths are tragic. They occur alone in the hospital. You can't have friends and loved ones around, and so it's been a huge tragedy. And most of us know people that have been affected by this highly adversely. I mean, I have 4 practitioners that passed away in Albuquerque that I used to work with from COVID. One of my other long-term cohorts was on a vent for 2.5 months and is just limping now in terms of his recovery. So this is horrible, and now we have this huge opportunity and sort of a shining light in all this darkness in terms of what we can do about this.
And that's the vaccines.
The vaccine. And the other thing I'd like to say is, once you get COVID, a lot of people recover. And so there's this feeling that, well, this is not a risk to me. But what you have to understand is our treatments for actual COVID are suboptimal right now. We don't have a good, highly reliable treatment for this. We can maybe mitigate it to somewhat, but once somebody is in trouble, their prognosis becomes quite worrisome and guarded.
Mm-hmm. Well, asking you about that, because over the last year, there have been all kinds of different remedies, if you will, that have been talked about. Some have been poo-pooed because of who said it. Some have been touted as helpful, but then turn out to be not so helpful. Is it because of how this virus affects everybody so differently? I mean, not everybody. If you get the virus, not everybody has the exact same
Absolutely.
symptoms.
There are predisposing factors that we know of. If you're elderly, diabetic, you have heart disease, overweight, COPD, immune suppression, these populations are at higher risk. Now, there's a genetic predisposition to this as well, this business of a cytokine storm. We understand that imperfectly. And similarly, the treatments to counteract that haven't been as good as we would like. There's dexamethasone, which probably has the highest degree of success. Remdesivir, monoclonal antibodies, convalescent sera, all of these have been, under investigation, but none of them have, besides dexamethasone, have shown a reliability that we would like to say, well, we have full protection. You get this and we can help you, okay? And that's where the vaccine is just head and shoulders above our other treatments.
Well, let me ask you this, because given all of what you just said, why would a vaccine be effective as opposed to not being able to come up with a uniform or a basic treatment that helps people out? It's just a
vaccine. You don't get the disease.
Okay.
You're protected.
Okay.
And that's what's amazing about this vaccine. 95% successful. Okay. We've almost never had a vaccine that has had that high a rate of success. Okay. And you look at the flu shot. 40 to 50% effective.
Right.
And similarly, other vaccines, we think we're doing well if it's 70 to 80% effective. And that's why this is huge. This is an opportunity to change the course here.
Yeah.
I mean, if people would like to get back to having Thanksgiving dinner with their family, going out to eat, having a lot more freedoms, this is our opportunity.
Talk about the process that they went through to develop this vaccine. How were they able to get this done so quickly, do you think?
Yeah, well, they had the genetic code for the virus. That was a big leg up. And then there is this entity called the spike protein, which is what the viron uses to attach to a cell and then co-opt the cell's machinery to start making virus particles. So they developed this messenger RNA vehicle that's encapsulated, and that then provides a code that a macrophage uses to start producing copies of this spike protein, and it generates the body's own neutralizing antibody. And so once you've got that, you're remarkably safer.
So in doing this, is this modifying your DNA? I mean,
no,
because a traditional vaccine is, or at least in the past, or even with the flu shot, is you get injected with either dead cells or a modified version of the
attenuated virus.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this isn't like that, right?
Okay. No, you can't get COVID from this vaccine. It's safe for, virtually everyone. So in immunosuppressed individuals, if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, there's not a population that's contraindicated from getting it. They have had, some isolated cases in England where people reacted to it, possibly because of the polyethylene glycol envelope that is that encapsulates the mRNA and allows it to be then processed by cells. But the instance of any significant problems have been nil. And if you contrast that with how effective it is, it really becomes a no-brainer in terms of the safety of it and why people should get it.
So this isn't one of those things that can be manipulated that's going to change. I'm just asking questions that I've heard people discuss.
Fine, perfect. That's what we need to cover.
Does this go in and this is trigger or modify or
no,
or Big Brother can come in at some point and push a little button? And
no, there's no tracking device or anything else that the government's going to use. It's just highly effective. And the key right now is to get it out to the largest number of people.
Yeah. So you touched on a little bit on the allergic reactions that have had from it. It seems like if somebody does have an allergic reaction, it's the top of the news, but it's not a lot of people that have had.
Oh, it's minuscule.
Minuscule.
And the vaccine clinics are set up to deal with that. They observe people for a period after the injections. They're set up to deal with anaphylaxis if in the very, very microscopic, rare possibility that it shows up.
Yeah.
Most people, Gene, have no symptoms from getting the vaccine. A small number will have maybe a little bit of fever, weakness, sore shoulder, this sort of thing. But, most have nothing to show for it.
Now, is that an allergic reaction, the soreness that you're talking about, to the other factors?
No,
or
it's
what?
probably generating the immune response and activation of inflammatory cells and things like this.
Yeah, that's it's interesting. I talked to one person who had their first shot, and they had the Pfizer vaccine, and they likened the reaction they had, the soreness they had at the injection point, to some of the other vaccines that they'd received previously that were very, very, very cold. Because the Pfizer one's very cold, isn't it?
Well, it has to be stored at minus 70 degrees, okay? Now, and that's part of the problem. Once you identify who's going to get the vaccine, it has to be defrosted and warmed. And then once that happens, you have a 5-hour window to give the vaccine. And so it's critical that, we have a schedule so we don't defrost too much, and we use this efficiently. So, but it's not minus 70 degrees
when you receive it.
It's at room temperature, so that's not an issue. So,
all right. Well, see, I don't know these things.
Well, that's why I'm here to provide as much information as I can.
Now, you've had the vaccine.
Absolutely.
You've had
at
both.
My earliest opportunity. Yes, sir.
The first and the second shot, right?
Correct.
Okay. How long do they anticipate that you are now vaccinated from this virus?
Okay, so we don't have a year's experience into using this. There's definite data where they have followed immunity levels. IgM, IgA has tracked out to 2 months after the vaccine. The IgG, which is the workhorse antibody, has been strong at up to 4 months after the injection. But then they don't have further data beyond that. So how will it play out at a year? That's still in the process of being sorted out. Might we need to do further modifications for some of the variants that are out there in the world? That's a possibility. But right now, if the virus uses the spike protein, then this vaccine is going to get it, okay? And that's what the COVID virus does.
Right, and we don't know. So, because you go back to your childhood, polio vaccine, that's for life. Smallpox, I think we've all got the little scar somewhere. Is this like that type of vaccination, or is this more like the flu shot?
Well, I think it has, this virus can mutate. Those viruses didn't. And so, and there can be variants of this. So, no, this is probably not going to last us a lifetime. There probably will be variants of the vaccine in the future. But you contrast the efficacy and success of this vaccine versus getting COVID right now. And it's just night and day. It's a huge safety factor that we need people to get.
So the research right now indicates maybe 4 months, but it hasn't been out long enough.
It was close to 100% active at 4 months.
Okay.
So, but that's as far as they track.
That's as far as they have the data for right now.
So beyond that, it's a bit of an uncertainty. Certainly, if you get the disease, your immunity seems to drop off over time. But how will this work? Well, we're going to find out. We'll know.
You would certainly recommend this over getting the virus.
Oh,
and
my
becoming...
God, gee. Oh, man. No. And that's what people need to realize.
Yeah.
This is just a huge opportunity for us.
Yeah. Can you stick around for a little while longer?
Yes,
I have
sir.
more questions.
Yes,
Is that
yes,
okay?
yes.
All right. Dr. Batty is with us from Artesia General. We're talking about the COVID-19 vaccine. We're going to take a break here in just a moment. We've got our news update. We have our New Mexico